What's up, everybody, and welcome to the ASAP Sports Minute with J-Mac and Ace. And before we get started, I want to let you know today that our show today is going to be brought to you in part by Suzanne Paparazzi Julie. All products are lead and nickel free. All products are $5. Special offer for ASAP Sports viewers. Free matching earrings when you buy a necklace. Order now at paparazziaccessories.com. And then the promo code on that will be 160920. Okay. What's going on tonight, J-Mac?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah, so I think the first thing that we're going to talk to you about tonight is we're going to talk to you about some NBA basketball. So, of course, the first game we're going to talk about is that crazy Lakers and Nuggets game. So, the one thing that I do want to originally talk about the Lakers and Nuggets. First off, nobody expected the Nuggets to be here. Everybody was expecting it to be the Clippers against the Lakers. Were you expecting that too?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I said that it would be the battle for the LA.
Okay. Yeah, and so that was definitely something that I think everybody was expecting. The Nuggets kind of came out and they kind of they kind of shocked the world a little bit by being able to basically beat the Clippers in 7 games. Now, when it comes to this game, the Nuggets did not start off too strong. The Lakers actually started off pretty hot. They actually went on a 17-1 run. When you look at the first half of this game, the first thing that sticks out to me was the Lakers actually shot 32 free throws in the first half. In the first half, Jokic, Murray, and Millsap all had 3 fouls in the first half. So with about 4 minutes left in the second quarter, your three main guys are on the bench. How can you expect to stay in a game when your big 3 guys are on a bench and they already have 3 fouls in the first half?
Yeah, you can. The Lakers definitely did a good job of getting to the line.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But the biggest thing that sticks out to me in this game, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit on previous shows, the one thing that the Nuggets kind of lack is they don't have another big man besides the Joker. So basically, the Joker has to try and out-rebound Anthony Davis. He has to try and out-rebound LeBron James. And then Dwight Howard, the way he played tonight, he actually had a good night. So how can the Joker match up against these 3 other big guys? So he might go through one 7-footer and LeBron James, but then waiting on the other side is another one and Anthony Davis.
Right. It's gonna be tough. But they came back 3-1 twice. So
yeah, and I do understand that in the last series, when they started playing the Clippers, that first game was a complete blowout. Like the Clippers came out, they blew them out. Then everyone's like, okay, the Nuggets are not going to be able to keep up with the Clippers. It's done and over. Now you have the first game in this series against the Lakers, and the Lakers basically came out and were able to just steamroll the Nuggets. I know the game seems a lot closer in the end, but it really wasn't. Like, the Lakers basically just dominated this whole game. They dominated. So yes, we did have the always intelligent Christopher Brown, who commented not tonight, but he commented when after the game was over and did say, the Nuggets got steamrolled in the first game against the Clippers in the last round too. However, the difference is this Lakers team is different than the Clippers. The Lakers team actually has big men. The Clippers did not.
It's true. You're talking a different beast. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and so how many games do you actually have this series actually going?
Oh boy. I say at least six.
So you think the Nuggets are going to get a few in there?
Yeah, I think they'll win a couple games.
So if the Lakers come out and dominate the next game against the Nuggets, do you foresee the Nuggets basically being able to win any if the Lakers come out and dominate the Nuggets in the next game?
Maybe not 2-0 for the Lakers, but if they go 3-0, I think it's over.
Well, with the way it seems right now, I think it's pretty much over anyway. So, and some stats to actually throw out in this game was when you look at LeBron James stats, LeBron James didn't have what you would call the best shooting game. He only had 15 points. But the thing to where LeBron James killed the Nuggets, he had 12 assists and I believe it was 10 rebounds in this game. So LeBron was kind of passing it everywhere. Like he had the ball going everywhere. Anthony Davis, he was passing it to Caldwell Pope, to Kuzma. And then coming off the bench, you actually had a Dwight Howard who tonight actually played really, really well tonight. And then not only did you have a Dwight Howard who played well, but then you also had a Rondo who decided to show up in this game, and I guess that's why they call him Playoff Rondo, because that's when he shows up. He also had 9 assists in this game. So that's why the Lakers actually really look good, is because they were able to pass the ball whenever they wanted to, pretty much at will. And the Nuggets couldn't really stop it. You did have Jamal Murray, who was able to score 21 points, and Jokic, who was able to score 21 points. So they did their usual scoring. But it's going to take more. It's going to take more than Jokic. It's going to take more than Murray. There has to be somebody else on this team who is going to have to step up and help out, especially when Murray and Jokic and Millsap are all on the bench in the second quarter because of foul issues.
Yeah. And Paul Millsap might be the guy that needs to step up.
He very well might be. And then when you even look at... And so there was actually the funny situation in this game. So you look at the third quarter in this game, and Jokic was actually at 4 fouls. There was a lot of contact on Jokic, and I believe it was on Dwight Howard. And there was no call. There was no call whatsoever on that one. And even the announcer said, well, they really don't want to give Jokic a 5th foul at this point. He's already got 4. They definitely don't want to give him a 5th. So, the referees kind of look at each other and they go, well, I think we're going to let that one slide. I didn't really see any contact there. However, if he has 3 fouls, they probably call it. So, in your opinion, does it really matter that the guy had 4 fouls or not? Should you be calling that in a game?
Yeah. 100%. You can't just judge it off of who's got fouled, who the name is. You got to call the game consistent.
And I completely agree with you. So we've had this situation. We've had this conversation in the past. I've talked to Chris Brown about it. I've talked to Freddie about it. In your opinion, who needs to have the better series? Does it have to be Jamal Murray, or does it have to be the Joker and Jokic? In Jokic.
The Joker. Murray's already proved he can put a team on his back and bring him back from 3-1.
But so has the Joker, though, too, because there's been games to where Murray has not played well, and the Joker was able to step up and kind of put the team on his back a little bit. Because there was a few games where Murray had like 14 points, but the Joker went off for like 32.
Yeah, but you go to last year, Murray wasn't there. Joker was. And he couldn't get him past the second round.
Yeah, and you know what? And I completely agree with you. So what you're saying on this is that you have the Lakers in 6, right?
Yes.
Okay. I hate to say it. I'm not a Lakers fan, just so everybody knows out there. I'm not going to be biased about this whatsoever because I am not a Lakers fan, but I do not see the Nuggets being able to slow down the Lakers at all. Originally, I believe I had the Lakers in 6, but with the way the Lakers look tonight and the way that the Nuggets looked outmatched, I actually will say get your brooms ready because I think it's going to be a sweep. I really don't think the Nuggets have a chance at all against this Lakers team.
Wow.
Yeah, that's honestly how I feel about that. I don't think they have a chance. They do not have enough big men to go up against the Lakers.
That's fair.
Okay, huh?
I would say that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Well, if they had another big guy, I might give the Nuggets a little bit more of a chance. But since they don't, I'm going to say right now that it's going to be a clean sweep, and you might as well get your brooms ready. Okay. All right, so moving away from NBA, how about we jump into a little bit of NHL and jump into that Stanley Cup, which, as everybody has known, me and J-Mac have talked about this a little bit in the past, and we've already had the Lightning versus the Stars in the Stanley Cup.
I mean, Air 5 through the computer.
Right? Because we called that. We had that weeks ago. We said it was going to be the Lightning and the Stars. The one thing that I do want to give the Islanders credit for, they did put up a little bit of a fight. They did. And and because they took game 6 against the Lightning again, they took them to overtime again.
Mm-hmm. Definitely was a better battle in the East than the West. The Stars, they just handled their series. They were done. The Islanders made a series out of it.
They did, and how much did that actually surprise you? Because I had said that once that it didn't matter who won, once the Islanders went on, I said it didn't matter because I was like, oh, the Islanders are going to come in and get swept. Like, I honestly thought it was going to be a clean sweep. I said their Cinderella story is going to be over. It's done. And then they showed me a little something that, hey, you know what? They might actually be able to put up a little bit of fight. And they did. And they took them to overtime once again. But in the end, Stars and Lightning, just like we had predicted originally anyway. So
this one's going 7.
Oh, yeah. And we had said that. However, the only difference in opinion that we had was you actually had the Lightning in 7, and I actually had the Dallas Stars in 7. That was really the only difference we had. But we had this series going 7 games.
Yeah, and I don't go back on what I said.
No, because I clearly think this series is like the series pretty much, if you are a hockey fan, this is the series that you've been waiting for. This is the series that you've wanted.
Absolutely.
So when we look back a little bit in history, and you look at the Dallas Stars, the last time that the Dallas Stars were able to win a Stanley Cup was actually 1999, and they actually beat the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah. And if I'm not wrong, one of their top players, Brett Hull.
Yeah.
Hull. Yeah.
Yes. But then, if you remember too, they might have won it in 1999, but they did return again in 2000, but they actually ended up losing that series in 2000. So they actually didn't win that one, but they did return in 2000. And then, so when you look at this Dallas Stars team, one of the things that I said was their biggest strength was their back end. Their back end is like their biggest strength. If they want to win this series, which I said that they were going to, but I'm not taking anything away from the Lightning. I really think they could come out and beat these Stars because the Lightning are just as good as the Stars are. But if Dallas wants to win this series, their back end is going to have to play well. And they're going to have to rely on their forward of Joel, and I this guy's last name is always hard to say, but it's Joel Kivratra. But
I actually think you're pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty close, but his last name is something wicked to say. I'll tell you that. But the big reason that they have to rely on Joel in this is, if you remember back in Game 5 of not this series, but I believe it was when they were playing the Bruins. It was back in Game 5. He actually had a hat trick in that game to move on to play the Islanders.
Yeah.
And so this is the guy that they're going to have to rely on besides their back end. So these are the two big things that they have to rely on. Now, the big thing that you want to remember too about the Dallas Stars is, in the regular season, they had the second best defense. They average allowing like two goals a game, I think is what it was, on average. Which, let's say that's actually pretty good. So their defense in this series is going to have to step up, and besides that, they are going to have to be very opportunistic with their scoring. If they have an opportunity to score, they're going to have to take it, because we know,
It's going to be one of those series where you have to win the power play.
Absolutely.
They're skating a guy down. You got to score. It's that simple.
Well, yeah, because now I'm not taking anything away from the goalie for the Stars at this point, which is Kadabin, and I'm pretty sure I said his name right on that one, but Kadabin. Now he's a good goalie too, but look at the Lightning team. They have the best goalie in the NHL. Last year, he won the award. This year, he's also a finalist.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, for the Stars to win, they're going to have to be very opportunistic.
Yeah. Again, power play. And if you get a chance at the end of the game, and you have open net chance, you have to get the goals.
Yeah, which in this one, the open net, I don't think you're going to see a lot of, because that's how dominant these two teams are. I foresee this series being a very low scoring series. I foresee it. I foresee a lot of like 2-1 games. And I foresee, I'm going to call it now, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say you're going to see 3 overtime games in this one. 3. You're going to see it.
Yep. I don't put that past it. For sure. Again, 2 or 3 goals you're going to win again. You're not going to have to score 8 like the Lightning did.
No, and so now shifting gears and going from the Dallas Stars to the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is the team you have winning in 7. If we look back at the Lightning, their last actually Stanley Cup win was actually in 2004, and they actually beat the Calgary Flames. But they were also recently there, and it was actually in 2015 when they actually lost to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Right. Blackhawks were loaded that year.
Oh, yeah.
So they weren't going to have much of a chance.
No, so when you look at the shining part of this Lightning team, and we had actually previously touched on it, we said obviously their shining part on this team was their goalie. Because they have the best goalie, the very best goalie in all of NHL. And thank you, Jeannie, for saying that it's very informative. I am glad that you are enjoying the show. So yeah, we had said. So do you honestly believe that he wins goalie of the year for a second straight year?
Sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Okay. Do you believe that he wins the goalie of the year for the second straight year?
Do I think that they can go for a second straight year?
No, I said, do you believe that Valesky, the goalie for Lightning, wins it for a second straight year?
And I think he wins the third next year.
So you have that much confidence in their goalie?
Yeah.
So I have to ask you a question. Is that why you picked the Lightning in 7? Is strictly because of their goalie?
Yes. He's not going to give up any goals.
No, he's not. And so that's why the Dallas Stars have to be very opportunistic if they're going to score. But I also don't want to, even though the Lightning's goalie is that good, I do not want to take away from their second line. Their second line is also one of the best in hockey too. So when you can switch out like that and still be just as good, that's huge.
Absolutely.
So in the playoffs, here's kind of an interesting stat. Playoffs? Because here's an interesting stat in the playoffs with the Lightning. In 1-score games in the playoffs, the Tampa Bay Lightning are 10-2.
Yeah.
Right? They're 10-2.
I mean, kind of speaks.
And in overtime games, they're 4-1. So obviously the Stars don't want this to go to overtime, and they don't want to make it a score in a 1-score game. You really don't want to, because if you go to overtime, I'm telling you, this goalie is going to shut you down. He's going to shut you down. But I can see the Lightning winning this. I'm not going to disagree with you in any way, because I know they can. But I had to go against you in this. I just did. I think it makes it more entertaining. So I got the Stars in 7. You have the Lightning in 7.
Yep.
Okay, so now moving away from NHL, how about we talk a little bit about some... not NBA. I'm sorry. We've already talked about that. How about we talk about some MLB? So when it comes to MLB, we were going to talk about some MLB awards. So how about with MLB, we go ahead and we start out with who we have projected to win the Cy Young awards. So if we start on the Cy Young on the AL side, to me, this one, originally, I would have said it would have been close. But the 3 guys, to me, that it comes down to is Shane Bieber, Lance Lynn, and Dylan Bundy. I know Dylan Bundy might shock some people just off of his numbers, but and I get it. But I think with Dylan Bundy pitching for the Angels and that struggling pitching staff like they have, Dylan Bundy has been the shining star in that pitching staff. No, he hasn't pitched great. When you look at his ERA, he's got a 3.12 ERA. So you might look at that and be like, well, how's that a Cy Young material? And I get it. You may not think it is, but it's not really all about the ERA. It's how well you've pitched in situations. When you get the bases loaded, blah, 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 blah. And he's got a 5-3 record. I know that's not great, but I just like the way he's really, really pitched, and he's stuck out on this pitching staff. Then my other one is Lance Lynn. That would be my number 3. When you look at Lance Lynn, he's kind of been one of those shockers this year that I really thought was going to be traded at the deadline, but the Rangers wanted an arm and a leg for him. They wanted the farm for him, especially with how well he's pitched this year with a 6-2 record, and he's got a 2.40 ERA. My number one for the AL to win the Cy Young Award, and I don't know if this will shock you or not, but his name is Shane Bieber. He has by far pitched the best in the AL by far, and to me, it's not even close. Like, it's not even relatively close. The dude has an ERA of 1.74.
Right.
And he's 8-1. 8-1 with a 1.74. Nobody in the AL has even come close to that.
Yeah, I think he's far and away the favorite.
So do you have a top 3, or like if you had to think about it, or would you just say that that's your favorite? You don't see anybody else?
I mean, I could say that, but that's in the AL.
Yeah.
The only other one that I might throw in there would be Dallas Keuchel for the White Sox.
Oh, Dallas Keuchel.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Which, that ex-Brave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was sad to see him go.
Again, his numbers aren't even where Bieber's. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's not even close. Like, Bieber has been the shining star.
He is 6-2 with a 2.14 ERA. So
no, and I get what you're saying, but his numbers don't even like.
I lost you.
Gotcha. Hold on. Yeah. So Bieber has been the best by far. Just in my honest opinion, it's going to be Bieber. So now the National League is actually the more interesting one when you look at it, because this year it seems like most of the good pitching has really come from the National League. There's been it's shocking how good the National League is this year compared to the American League. When you look at the Cy Young Awards and the National League, there was 3 people that really struck out to me. Now, number 1 is obviously somebody who's won 2 consecutive ones, who could make it a 3rd one. He's currently injured. I believe he has a hamstring injury at this point, which is Jacob deGrom. Like, that guy, I don't care who he goes up against. The dude's getting like 9 strikeouts a game.
Yeah.
The dude is an absolute lights-out pitcher. He's got a 2.01 ERA. He's 4-1. He plays for the Mets. He's by far their best pitcher. If I was to start a franchise and I had to pick a pitcher first, it might be this guy. That's how impressive he is. He's got some filthy, nasty stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then number 2, you had said this before. You said it was one of your favorite guys, and he goes by the name of Max Fried.
Guy's phenomenal.
The dude this year is 7-0, 1.96 ERA. He has by far pitched. In the Atlanta's pitching staff, it hasn't even been close. Like, he's been the shining star by far. The only thing that is going to hurt him in the Cy Young race right now is that he had to miss a few starts.
I get that. But the one thing about Fried, he's given up
zero home runs. Zero home runs. Yes. And I get that. He's like the only pitcher to do that this year. He's the only one. And he's given up, and in all of his starts, he's given up that many runs. He's given up 11 runs total. Well, actually 12 now, I do believe. Yeah, he's given up 12 because he pitched tonight and allowed a run.
Right.
But that was his first start back from injury also.
The home runs. He's at 0. The only one close in the top 20 is Corbin Burns for Milwaukee, who's given up 1 in 50 innings. And Max Fried's giving up 0 on 55.
Yeah, because coming into tonight, Max Fried had pitched 50 innings. But then tonight, he pitched 5 innings, he struck out 3, he walked 2, and he allowed a run. And yet again, that run wasn't even a home run again. So how impressive is that to you if you're going to win a Cy Young Award? How impressive is that to you to not allow a home run?
I mean, that's unheard of.
So then the last guy in my list for the NL is actually Yu Darvish. So Yu Darvish last year, he struggled last year. When the Cubs got him, Yu Darvish was good when he pitched for Texas. Then Yu Darvish came over and he struggled. Now this year, he's gotten better again. When you look at Yu Darvish's number this year, he's 7-2 and his ERA is a 1.86. So he has had a bounce back year. He's turned it around. But if I really had to pick the order of these, the first 2 is really tough. Because even though I'm a Braves fan, and I don't like the Mets because they play in the NL East with us, it's hard for me to go up against Jacob deGrom. It really is, because I'm a huge fan of Jacob deGrom. I really am. But I guess if I had to place him at this point in time, just based off of records and how impressive it has been, I would actually put Max Fried a little bit over Jacob deGrom at this point. So I would probably go Max Fried, Jacob deGrom, and then Yu Darvish. That would be my order.
Yeah. The only other person for me, Trevor Bauer pitches for Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And he has thrown 2 shutouts this year.
Yeah, so speaking of that, if the season was to end today, imagine this, because Max Fried is in the Cy Young race for sure. There's no question about that. So if the season was to end today, the Braves would actually play the Reds in a wild card game. And can you imagine, in that game, it would be Max Fried against Trevor Bauer.
My mic was, I don't know.
Okay. So I said when it came to. Okay.
I was trying to say something. Didn't come out.
Okay. Yeah. So what were you saying? Because I said imagine Max Fried against Trevor Bauer in the wild card.
1-0 game.
Yeah, because
4-run wins.
Well, yeah, because we got that at the beginning of the year when Jacob deGrom went up against Mike Soroka. It was a 1-0 game. But I would have liked to see Mike Soroka stay healthy this year. I think he could have been in the Cy Young too. So I think we both agree. We both agree for the National League that it's Max Fried.
At this point,
what does Yu Darvish have to do to overtake Max Fried at this point? He does have a lower ERA. Keep in mind, he's got a lower ERA. It's by like 10 points, I think, because Max Fried is 1.96 and Yu Darvish is 1.86. So it's close. It's close.
Sorry. It's just one of those that's going to be really close. It's going to come down to voters in the end. I don't think there's anything either one of them has to do.
No, but here's the thing, though. If Max Fried finishes the rest of the regular season without a loss, and he finishes undefeated, is he the unanimous Cy Young? Okay, so So moving on from that, since we have a little technical difficulties here. Oh, J Mac is back. Okay,
I don't know what happened.
All right, so anyways, like I was saying before, if Max Fried finishes with zero losses, is he the unanimous Cy Young Award?
Oh, most definitely.
Because I really don't think we've ever seen that. We've never seen a pitcher go undefeated without a loss. That's now I know people might point out and be like, well, it's a shortened season, it's 60 games. That doesn't matter. That's impressive.
Oh. 60 games, 15 games, 20 games, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's so then jumping ship from the Cy Young Award, now we go to the MVP race. And when we talk about the National League with MVP, at the beginning of the year when it first started, the first 20, 25 games, yeah, I went on the air and I said Fernando Tatis Jr. was going to be the NL MVP. But Tatis Jr. has taken a little bit of a step back. I think he's had like 4 consecutive games without a hit. He has taken a step back now. But he still had an impressive year so far. When you look at his numbers, he's batting a .281. He's got 15 home runs. He's batted in 40. So yeah, he's still having an impressive year. But there's one guy, and I know I'm going to probably sound like a homer on this still because I'm a Braves fan, but I don't want to take away what Freddie Freeman has done. No, because Freddie Freeman this year, he's batting a .352, 11 home runs, 46 ribbies, and when they showed the stat tonight, Freeman has been leading. He leads the league in average. He leads the league in on base percentage. He's been impressive.
Yeah. And if you break down the numbers, and we're talking about Fernando Tatis Jr., he's actually 16th in the NL in OPS.
Yeah, and Freeman's got an OPS of over 1,000.
Yeah, 1.128.
Yeah, because tonight again he went 3 for 4 again tonight. Like the dude has been on base in like 36 consecutive games.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So he's had multiple years like this. But his name is never brought up for MVP. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because he's in Atlanta? And kind of not... And Atlanta's not like a huge market team, but they're not a small market. I call them in the middle. But do you think that's why Freddie Freeman does not get enough consideration year in and year out because he plays for Atlanta?
Oh, I think so. You remember... In the 90s, they had all those great players. Chipper Jones finally got the MVP.
Which he rightfully deserved. He rightfully deserved it.
Hands down. But I think there was other years, other guys could have got it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna dispute that at all. Maybe if you put him on a team like the Dodgers or Yankees, he would probably be considered pretty much almost in the consideration of MVP almost every single year.
Absolutely.
Then the third guy that I said is in the race, but he's kind of the dark horse. It'd be hard to put him in front of Freeman right now or Tatis. And that third guy is actually Mookie Betts, which this year actually surprised me that the Red Sox actually traded him. The Dodgers went out and got him. And I know a lot of people might say, how is he a dark horse when he's been as good as he is? Well, look, when you look at Mookie Betts' numbers, he's batting a .306. He's got 15 ribbies. He's got 15 homers. He's knocked in 36. I get all that. I get it all. But look at their lineup. They're loaded from top to bottom. And I'm not saying I'm not saying Atlanta's not. You know, I get that. There's a lot of guys on this Atlanta team too from top to bottom. But it's hard to get past. In the last 30 games, Freeman's been batting like a 480 in the last 30 games. That's hard. Like he started the season batting like a 186.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's raised his average all the way up to a 352. So at this point in time, I would put Freddie Freeman a little bit ahead. Just a little bit ahead of Tatis. Not much, but a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
All right, now we move over to the AL side of our MVP race. So when we go into the AL side of the MVP, there's actually two people in the MVP race that play on the same team. And that's two guys that actually play on the White Sox that I have in the top three. Number one is actually Jose Abreu.
Yeah.
And then number two is Tim Anderson. Now, I understand that Tim Anderson does not have a lot of home runs. He does not have a lot of ribbies. But he is leading the American League in average, which I did say that Freddie Freeman was leading the league in average, and I'm sorry, he was not. That's not what I meant to say. I meant to say he was leading the National League in average, not all of major leagues. Because Tim Anderson right now on the White Sox is actually batting a 365. That's why I've been really impressed with him. It's not he has not put up the power numbers, which is completely okay. People have this thing that to be an MVP, you have to hit home runs and you have to drive in runs. No, you don't. It's average. It's getting on base. It's what do you do? How do you help your team out? You're supposed to be what's called the most valuable player. So if you if you can constantly get on base, at least you're putting your team in a position to win just by getting on base. When you get a runner in scoring position, can you drive them in? Absolutely, and that's what Tim Anderson has done. And I'm not denying anything that Jose Abreu has done, because Jose Abreu, his power numbers and average has been crazy. When you look at Jose Abreu's stats, he's batting a 332. He's got 17 home runs, and he's got 51 ribbies. Impressive numbers. I'm not denying that at all. So between 1 and 2, between Jose Abreu and Tim Anderson, it was hard for me who to put at 1, who to put at 2. Now the dark horse for me in this, to put at number 3, which has a shot. He's got a shot, but it's an outside shot, and it's Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz for me every year he's been impressive. I mean, he puts up power numbers almost every year. And this is why, to me, he's really stuck out this year the most. That's not because he's got 17 homers and 32 ribbies. No. It's got nothing to do with that. The guy this year is batting a 320.
He's a DH, though.
I get he's a DH. I get it. But that to me does not matter. It doesn't matter if you're a DH. That's what I'm trying. It doesn't matter if you're a DH. It doesn't matter how many home runs. It doesn't matter how many ribbies. It does not matter. Are you the most valuable player on that team? Is Nelson Cruz the most valuable player on his team? Is he? To you, is he the most valuable player on that team?
Probably.
Absolutely. He is. He's the most valuable. Well, okay. I understand that the Twins are loaded. I understand a lot of people are going to be like, the Twins have a lot. And they do. They have a lot. They went out and got a Josh Donaldson last year. But Yeah, that doesn't matter. Josh Donaldson has not been impressive this year, but he's been hurt a lot too. I get it. He has. But Nelson Cruz is the guy in this lineup that has been the most consistent. This team is going to go around Nelson Cruz. They're going to win by how Nelson Cruz plays.
I can't argue with that. I will tell you, though, you brought up the Chicago White Sox.
I know, they're the number 1 seed. I get it, yes.
Well, you brought up Anderson.
Yeah, and Abreu.
However, I think you're forgetting about Jimenez.
No, come on, man. No.
He's hitting 300, 13 homers, 39 RBI.
I get it, but he's not the most valuable MVP, most valuable player. He's not the most valuable player on the White Sox. He's not. He's not the most valuable player.
That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I could debate this because he's not the most valuable player. So are you going to say he's more valuable than a Tim Anderson and a Jose Abreu?
You can make the argument.
How? How can you make that argument?
I mean, if you're going to include the other two, you got to include him.
I can't. So you're going to take away what Nelson Cruz has done. You're going to take Nelson Cruz out of the top 3 for what he's done in Minnesota and take him and put him on the wayside and be like, nope, he's not in the top 3. It's 3 White Sox players. No freaking way. That is blasphemous, man.
I would put in Luke Voigt.
From the Yankees. Yes, which I like that guy this year. He's been absolutely rocking, man. Like he's been knocking dingers left and right like all season.
He's got 20.
Right? Yeah, the dude's been knocking dingers all season. But yet again, like I was saying, it does not come down to home runs and it does not come down to ribbies. I want to see, are you the most valuable player on that team? Is he the most valuable player on a Yankees team? And when you look at that Yankees team, is he really? They have an Aaron Judge, they have a Stanton, they have a Sanchez, they have a Torres, they have a Garrett Cole, they have they have so many names, so many big time names. It's hard to pinpoint one MVP on this Yankees team. The hole that they're in is because of injuries. That's why, because they can't stay healthy. And yes,
good point.
Yeah, but when Luke Voigt, when all those injuries were there, who is the one guy on the Yankees that stepped up? Yes, it was Luke Voigt. I get it. Luke Voigt was that guy who stepped up on the Yankees when everybody was hurt. I get that. But he's not the MVP on this team when everyone is completely healthy.
It's arguable.
For the longest time in the AL, people were saying that Aaron Judge was the no doubt MVP in the AL. That's what everybody was saying at the very beginning.
I don't know how that's possible.
At the very beginning, the dude had played in 12 games and hit like nine jacks. Now, I don't want to go back and say that it's about home runs because I've said it's not, so I get it. But he was getting on base like 2 times a game. And so that's why everybody was like, yeah, he's the MVP. But then he got hurt. So now his numbers went down. He was batting for high average. He was hitting dingers, driving in runs, getting on base.
Yeah. You can never count Trout out, though.
I kind of had a feeling you were going to say that. I really did. Trout's not Trout. Like, I understand he's having a Trout-ish year, if that makes any sense. Like, but it's not the typical Mike Trout year.
He plays for a horrible team.
Which does not... This is the thing that perplexes me the most. How are they a horrible team? How do they not win? Look at this lineup. They have a Mike Trout. They have a Pujols. They have a Simmons. They have a Otani who can pitch. He can play the dude can DH. They went out and they got an Anthony Rendon, who was the MVP in the National League. Anthony Rendon, who now went to LA and did nothing. So I don't understand. Is like the Angels a team where people go to die or what? Like, I don't understand, because that team is loaded in the lineup from like top to bottom. So I don't understand how they're that bad.
I don't get it either.
But yes, it's Mike Trout. He's having a Mike Troutish year, but he's not having a great stellar year that really shows up to the standards of what I'm seeing of the other players. Now, my question for you in general is, if somebody's playing on a losing team, does that hurt their chances of winning MVP?
Does it? Yes. Should it? No.
And maybe that's why, looking at Mike Trout this year, you kind of look at him in a different category. Like, yeah, he's basically almost a year in, year out MVP. You could put him in the race every year. But with how bad the Angels have been this year, that might be a little bit of why he's being overlooked. Maybe that's why I overlooked him a little bit. But still, when it comes to that, I still don't truly believe that he's having that type of season that he normally would have.
Yep.
So, all right. Do you have anything else left to say on the topic of MVP?
No, not an MVP.
Okay. So how about now we jump into the top 5 tennis players of all times, male or female. So everybody knew on Tuesday that I covered my top 3 female tennis players of all time. But tonight, I'm actually going to tell you who my top 5 male tennis players were of all time, and a few of these names might surprise some people. And I'm going to go from who I think is the 5th down to what I consider the GOAT, as everybody would say. He's the greatest of all time. Number 5, if you're a tennis fan, you know this guy, you know his name, and he goes by the name of Pete Sampras.
Yep.
Number 5. That was my number 5. When you look at Sampras' numbers, he's got 64 career titles. He's got 14 Grand Slam titles. And yes, at one point when he retired, he was the GOAT. What hurts Sampras the most that really that you can look at now is, like, when you look at tennis back then and tennis now, wouldn't you consider the tennis players today to be better than they were back then?
Yeah. I think so.
There might have been a few handful of tennis players you could look at back then that might be like, okay, this guy really sticks out. This guy was good. Somebody like a Sampras or a Andre Agassi. Now, does it surprise you that I don't have Andre Agassi in my top 5?
A little.
Because I do not have him in my top 5. If I had a top 10 list, no doubt I would put him in the top 10. I'd probably put him at number 7, but he's not in my top 5. I don't have him in my top 5. So yes, Pete Sampras was considered the GOAT at one time until all these new guys started coming out and playing now, like a McEnroe and Nadal, which we'll get into some of that because a few of these guys I just might have in my top 5 list. So my number 4, I actually have who's called Rod Laver. So Rod Laver, I will tell you something about this guy. He is somebody that people might look at and think that this guy was pretty underrated. The dude has the most career titles ever. The guy has 200 career titles. Nobody's even topped 200. He's got the most career titles. The one thing that goes against him, like I was saying with Sampras, is he hasn't played any of the modern guys now. So he hasn't played a Novik. He hasn't played a Nadal. So I really think in a way that kind of hurts because he played back when tennis was a thing, but it wasn't like, okay, there was a bunch of stars. There's a bunch of stars now with males and females in the tennis world.
Yeah, but by comparison, Djokovic has 77.
Yes, which, well, actually, correction on that. Djokovic actually has 80 career titles. He's got 80.
You're right.
But
Federer has 103.
Yes, which the two people you just said are actually above Rod. I actually have them above Rod. And that was because and I based this off of the eras that they were playing in. Rod didn't play in the same era that Nadal plays and Djokovic does. It's completely different eras. These guys actually have to play each other. And then when it comes to my number 2, this guy. So my top 3 that I have in history, that's why I put them now, because they are in the modern era now and they have to play each other. So that's why when you have 3 of the top players in tennis history in the same modern era right now, it's in the same era. That's why tennis today is so much different than it was back then. So my number 3, and it's the guy you just talked about, Djokovic. He's my number 3. And I have Djokovic at number 3 with 80 career titles. The guy has 17 Grand Slams in his career. 17. Impressive. If everybody remembers when I was talking about Serena Williams in the last show, when I said she had a total of 20. So would I say that Serena Williams is a better tennis player than Djokovic? Don't know. It'd be hard to say. We've never seen him play. I would like to see that matchup. I think it'd be pretty cool. But you don't get to see really female tennis players go up against males, and that's kind of kind of sucks in a way. Just saying, yeah. It sucks. But think about this. Djokovic has 80 career titles right now with 17 Grand Slams, yet he still has more time. He's still playing. So he still has time to move up that list. However, does he catch Rod for 200 career titles? No way. I honestly don't think that that's something that you'll ever see anybody touch again. And the only reason I'm saying that is going backtrack again. With Rod being able to get 200 career titles, it's looking at the era that he played in. There wasn't as many good tennis players as there is now, so he didn't have to compete.
Yep.
And now, huh? Oh yeah, and 2. So my number 2 is Federer. Federer's my number 2. Oh, no. Sorry. I forgot about Guy. Nadal is actually my number 2. I have Nadal at number 2. Nadal is number 2. He's got 85 career titles, 19 Grand Slams. And I'll tell you why I took Federer out of my number 2 here in a minute. But number 2, yes, Nadal, 85 career wins, but he also has a gold medal in the Olympics too.
All right.
My number 1, Federer. Roger Federer, number 1.
Not surprised.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
So are we going just males?
Male, you can do whatever you want. You can go females, you can go males, you can mix them. I don't care. One interesting stat that I want to point out with Federer really quick, besides the 103 career titles, because I just really wanted people to know really quick why I put him as the GOAT. So the guy has 103 career titles. He's got 20 Grand Slams. At one point, the dude went 237 consecutive weeks as the number 1 tennis player in the world. From the years of 2004 to 2008. 237 consecutive weeks. That is insane.
Yep.
So that's why, to me, he is the GOAT. So on this one, I will turn it over to J-Mac. So J-Mac, go ahead and give me your top 5 list. Doesn't matter, males, females, whatever. Go ahead and give me your top 5 list.
Number 5. Martina Navratilova.
Okay, I can see that.
She did so much for the tennis world. Brought women to the same level as men.
So are you doing a female list or are you mix and matching?
Nope, mix and match.
Okay, so here's my question for you, because you said Martina Navratilova has done a lot in the tennis world, which I'm not saying she hasn't. I truly agree with you that she has. But if you remember my females list, I put Serena Williams ahead of her. Martina Navratilova, I had at number 3. Would you put Serena Williams ahead of Navratilova?
On my list, Williams probably 6.
You have her behind Martina Navratilova.
I do.
Serena Williams, to me, has revolutionized women's tennis.
Can't deny that. I think Navratilova started it.
I'm not going to deny that. I won't. But I think that Serena Williams has been the most standout. Everybody knows who she is.
Number 4. Laver. Rod Laver, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be in the top 5.
How can he not be? I mean, look at the guy's career's numbers.
Number 3. Nadal.
Oh.
Yeah. Name a number of reasons. But number 2. Here's the shocker. Jimmy Connors.
Whoa. I was not expecting that. I would be expecting you to put somebody like Bjorn Borg in there, or Andre Agassi, but I wasn't expecting you to put Connors. So I just have to know, what was your reasoning for putting Connors in there over everybody else that you possibly could have put in there?
If I had to explain it, he played in a time when you had again, Borg making headlines. John McEnroe making headlines. Both for the wrong reason. Jimmy Connors didn't make headlines, but beat both of them. Consistently.
There's no denying that he did. He did, but I was just shocked that you put him at number 2 of all time.
That's really the reason. Number one. Do I have to say it?
Federer, yeah.
How can you deny that? The guy has made 150 million in tennis. In tennis.
Right?
He'd beat anyone in history. Consistently.
Yeah, and so, that's why I put him number 1 now, because he still plays in the era now with Djokovic, and he still plays with Nadal, and he can still beat them. It would be interesting to be able to see him go up against like a Pete Sampras or a Andre Agassi. I would actually like to see a Rod Laver play against like Nadal and Djokovic now. I would like to see how well he can match up against them. That would kind of be interesting to see.
Yep.
So what it sounded like to me, what kind of surprised me about your list a little bit, was that you did not, if I remember right, you did not have a Djokovic in the top 5.
No. He would have been 5 if we were just doing males.
So, would you put you put Nadal ahead of Djokovic?
Yes.
Rod Laver ahead of Djokovic?
Yep.
It's so hard with Rod Laver. Like I was saying, it's so hard because of the era he played in. I want to give the guy more credit, but it's so hard. The guy has really impressive numbers. Like 200 career wins. I don't think anybody's going to touch that.
No.
But I don't know. It's the era. So were you an Andre Agassi fan?
Yes.
Is Andre Agassi in your top 10?
Most definitely.
How about McEnroe?
Borderline. And because McEnroe made headlines, but more for what he did off the court than what he did on it.
So you think that kind of hurt his legacy?
Absolutely.
If he stays out of trouble off the court, you take all that stuff away that he's done bad off the court, is he a top 5 tennis player of all time?
No, but he's top 10.
But you still wouldn't put him in the top 5?
No.
Yeah. I agree. I'm just trying to think of where I would put him in the top 10. I might stick, if he stays out of trouble when he's off the court, I might put him at like number 8.
Yeah.
Because Andre Agassi like missed my list, and it wasn't by much. Like I actually would have put Agassi at like number 6.
Yeah. Anyone who hasn't should read his book. It's unreal. The guy hated tennis. He hated tennis. At one point, the number one ranked tennis player in the world hates tennis.
Right? So, actually, really quick here before we hop off, an interesting thing that I actually read, Bo Jackson was actually a tennis player at one point.
Yep.
And Bo Jackson has actually won a title in tennis. Like, so they said like Bo Jackson was the only player to ever win 3 titles in 3 sports.
That's insane.
Right? That's crazy. I have nothing else. Do you have anything else you wanna lay out there?
No. I think is successful rebranding of the ASAP Sports Minute. Stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, so just going off what you're following up on that quick, just so everybody knows, Nate the Great and I used to have a show, and Freddie and Chris are still going to have their shows, but now Nate the Great is now going to be over there as a moderator with Freddie and Chris. And now you're going to see me and J-Mac with our own show. It's going to be the Sports Minute with J-Mac and Ace. We're going to have it 3 nights a week. You might even see us on some other nights just decide to throw in a show there just to recap some final scores in some different sports.
We also have the Monday night recap.
Yes, which if everybody saw that last week, they must have really enjoyed it because we had a ton of views. So hopefully... you guys can come
Number out. 1 on the network.
Right? So hopefully you guys will come out, check us out again on Monday night. And then if you want to see me again too, besides tomorrow, you'll also see me on Sunday morning as I'm just filling in on Sunday on the Sunday morning football pregame show. So if there's nothing else to say, I want to let everybody and say thank you for watching tonight. This was the first season and the first episode of the Sports Minute with J-Mac and Ace. There's going to be plenty more to come. Tune in tomorrow because tomorrow is strictly college football and NFL. So it's going to be a great time tomorrow. You guys are going to really enjoy it. For all you college football fans and NFL fans, come and check it out. It's going to be a great time. So thank you all for watching and have a great night.
Great night all.